Howdy, Cowboy Gamer here, and you're listening to the 13th episode of the Portable Gaming Podcast. Again, as always, it is just me, but I am super excited, mostly because, well, I get to do my podcast, I get to talk about video games. I am completely sleep-deprived, hyped on caffeine, sugar, and anything else I can find, and I'm just waiting a couple more hours and I'm probably going to crash, so we will see. If I get a little loopy or say something that it sounds close but just a little off, just go with it. Hopefully next week on the podcast I will put in my question or what you need to do to have a chance to win a prize, since really there's only one of you guys watching and listening, at least regularly. I'm pretty sure that one person is going to win, and I'm almost positive I'm going to give it to that person, but I will, I'll try and put out some tweets and stuff, and try and let other people know that there's going to be a prize. So, and the question will be in next week's, at least it's the goal. But for this week, let's start off with what I know, games I've been playing this week. I know last week I said I wanted to play Xenoblade, or Xeno Drifter. No. Xeno Drifter. Wow. Yeah. Okay. But I was not able to, mostly because I had too many other games that were taking up time, and I just remembered that it was September, and that I could get my PlayStation Plus games. So that was partially my bad. I'm downloading it right now. So hopefully that is going to be ready to go for next week's episode. We will see. I got a little behind. Also because I've found another game, so I've kind of been playing that a lot. So that is definitely my problem. But what is that game that I've been playing a whole bunch lately? And that would be Fallout Shelter on Android. Now, I completely forgot about this game. Watched E3 live, stayed up kind of late, and watched the Bethesda conference. Super exciting. But I know it right away. The game was coming out on iPhones, and it was going to come out later on Android, and I was like, oh, this is going to be awesome. I love these types of games. I'll watch for it, and time went by, completely forgot. But a guy at work was playing it the other day, and he reminded me that it was on Android, and I was like, wait, that's out? And I pretty much freaked out for a little bit. I know, it's a game, but I got excited, because I get excited about games. So what did I do? I hopped on the work Wi-Fi and started to download. Then realized how big of a game it was to download onto a system, so I just waited till I got home, and then started downloading it immediately upon getting home while I was doing some chores. Because it really is a very, very large game, and it took a very, very long time. But let's talk a little bit about Fallout Shelter, and not anymore about me forgetting and downloading the game. It is a two-dimensional, best described like Sim Tower, only instead of going vertically, you're going... Well, you're still going vertically, but you're going into the ground, not into the air. You start off, and you can't go very far wide. It is a set length across, but you just keep going down. You start off with just the main vault entrance, and your job is to build up. You have 4 resources you kind of have to manage. That is power, water, food, and those are the main 3. And the other is the currency, which is caps. Obviously, we're playing Fallout. Of course it's caps. But you just kind of start, as you get dwellers, you get things like the more dwellers you have, the more rooms and types of rooms you get to unlock. So you start off with power, water, and a diner for food. You get those built. They're all pretty cheap. And then you put people into them. There are multiple stats: strength, precision, endurance, agility, luck, intelligence, other stuff like that. Excuse me. And all these stats are good for boosting and doing better in certain rooms. Like the power room, if you have a high strength, it takes less time to get the power maxed out in that room, so you can click on it and the power can go into your pool of resources. Also, the more you upgrade each room, the larger your overall pool is for resources. However, the caps pool, no limit that I know of. On top of that, you have things like med packs or rataways and stim packs. So stim packs heal you back to health. The rataways get rid of radiation, obviously. It's a fallout shelter. Outside in the wasteland is radiation. Also, there are creatures that attack you randomly, or other people attack your shelter, and they can contaminate, they can wreak havoc. So what your job is to do is to get people, raise up their stats, make sure the correct people's stat that with certain stats go into certain rooms so that everything is faster. Even if you upgrade it and you keep a good control over how many people you have, the best ones in each of the rooms, it's really easy to not just need 1 million power or just very little. You can also put multiple rooms together, so 3 power rooms, all of the same type together. They build and they form into one bigger room. It takes a little bit more gold to upgrade them, obviously, since it's 2 rooms instead of just 1 that you're upgrading, but this can be even easier and better. You also have a living quarters. If you put a male and a female in there, obviously their job is to make a kid. Woman gets pregnant, she carries around the kid a while, she can still do work in wherever you put her, and eventually she has the kid. The kid then walks around, just roams your entire place. Eventually, after enough time has passed, is considered an adult, and then you can put them to work, and they have their own stats. There are also clothing that you can get. There are objectives in the game, and doing these objectives, some of them are simple, some are harder, can get you more caps, or they can get you lunchboxes. Lunchboxes are the pay option of this game, and you don't have to pay at all. It's a really nice version for that, but you can buy lunchboxes for a set cost, or you can win them through completing objectives. If you complete an objective and you get a lunchbox, it goes in, it's just kind of like Hearthstone, like winning a deck. You open it up, it's got a couple of cards. You click on the cards, and sometimes they're more caps, sometimes they're power, food, water, sometimes they're gear, and sometimes they're people. I know one of the guys at work that plays it got 2 really good people already, and I have yet to get a single person, but I've gotten some okay gear. I've just not gotten any really rare gear. So this game, people say it doesn't have an endpoint, and I understand that people have 100 people in their building, and you could there's tons of room, so you can just really build crazy amounts. But I think even though it's an endless game and it has really no end cutscene or anything like that, I've decided that, like many PlayStation games, there is a Platinum Trophy. And even though usually after the game is beaten, you get your Platinum Trophy, I've decided that there are achievements in this game, and once I have all the achievements, I will consider the game beaten, and I can check it off my list. Because, I mean, you could never stop. You could have thousands upon thousands upon thousands of caps, and you could just have tons of power. You could never have enough of those resources. You just have plenty, and you just sit there, and people can attack, but your guys are so strong, they're geared up, they have weapons, and they can do enough damage to defend themselves. Oh well, but I'm just going to go for the achievements right now, and that's kind of fun. One thing that there's certain things you do really have to pay attention and manage in this game. One thing that you can do is you can send people out into the wasteland to go out and they just explore. You don't have any control over this, you just send them out and they go do their thing. They come across enemies, they come across structures, and they explore it all. And sometimes they come across weapons, and sometimes they come across gear that you can wear, and sometimes they come across caps. They also gain experience and stuff, and take damage, and also get radiation. So your job is to manage all this, and not let them be out in the wasteland for too long, otherwise they die. So you need to make sure they're strong enough, and at the same time they need to be well geared themselves, so that they can do more damage to enemies that might attack them, and you have to give them stim packs and radaways so that they don't get too much radiation and they can auto-cure it, or as their health gets depleted from fighting things, they can use a stim pack and heal up. So you really can't just send a guy off and let him go. The problem with the phone is you can exit out of the program, but the guy is still off exploring in no man's land. So when you come back on, if it's been a long time, let's say it's been 4 hours, he is 4 hours out and exploring, and he might be nearing death, and you need to recall him. However, let's say you go to bed, and you've just put him out right before you go to bed. If you don't get enough stim packs and radaways, he's definitely going to die before you wake up after like 8 hours. So that's a major thing you need to worry about. So you really, unless you're going to heavily equip this guy, you don't send out people right before you go to bed. Usually you do it. Right now I'm on like 2 hour to 4 hour chunks is about as far as I go out in time, and then I bring them back. Yes, the farther they go out, sometimes the better gear they can come up with, the more chance they have of finding gear, but you always run that risk of losing them. If you lose them, though, it is not a super big deal. You can just pay a large amount of caps and revive anyone. They can be dead anywhere on the wasteland or in your base. You can just revive them. So that's a nice thing. However, caps don't grow on trees, and they're not the easiest to get. Later on down the game, it sounds like there's just a caps production that you can always get caps from, but yeah, something to think of. You can also assign people to rooms to increase certain stats. I think every stat in the game can be increased at all but maybe one. If I don't know, I haven't seen all the rooms yet, but I think the only stat that can't be increased is luck, unless there's just a room that can do that. There is also a radio room, which you put people into. They keep calling out, and it counts down until there's a chance that someone can come in. This is only a chance. When the time is expired, a little icon will appear over the room. You click on it, and then there's the chance that a person will randomly show up at your door or not. Sometimes this can be increased by their stat for that room, which is charisma, I believe. But yeah, there's no guarantee unless you have super high, awesome charisma. Maybe it decreases the time, but pretty much the only way to increase your population is with the radio tower and just making more babies. And again, babies is one of the achievements and usually some of the objectives. So it's something you do need to think about. You can't just say you're gonna just rely on the radio tower and bring in a person every day or every other day. It's not super great. One way to break the game is put people with low stats Like, let's say they have their strength status really low. So during the day, you put them in the room because it doesn't take as long to raise that stat 1 point. And you're kind of checking in, or hopefully during the day you'll be able to check in on your phone, and after like half an hour, their stat will pop, and then after an hour or 2 hours. However, if they have kind of a high stat, you want to put them in the room late at night before you go to bed, so that way in the morning that stat will have increased. Otherwise, it's no fun if you put someone that has a low stat in a room, because after half an hour their stat pops, and until you click on it, they can't keep training or raising your stat anymore. So there are just certain little ways that you can kind of take advantage of the game if you're really thinking about it. Some people also don't even put people in training rooms. They just put them in like making babies or gathering resources during the day, and then at night they throw everyone that they possibly can into training rooms. That way they raise their stats and they make good use of people, because during the phone being shut off or the app being shut off, nobody's really going to attack you. It's once you turn the app on that you have the chance of being attacked by different things. Also, the game kind of, when it gets shut off, it doesn't pause immediately. It kind of has a certain time threshold that still it runs. It gives you the ability that resources can be farmed, or at least get to them, to the fact that the room has an icon that says, hey, you can pick up your resources. After a few resources or all resources, each room of the 3 resource types has the icon. I think that's when the game pauses and says, okay, all other time things happen, but we're not going to keep depleting your resources. Otherwise, every time you turn on the game, you'd be out of resources, and that would stink, because you'd be red, and when you're red, people aren't as happy, and it stinks that way. So it's a good pause setup, at least. So we'll see. It definitely is being a little time consuming, so much so that I actually haven't been playing as much on Final Fantasy X on my Vita. That's actually 2 reasons, not just Fallout Shelter, but I've been playing and I got all my luck spheres, so that's awesome. I'm super excited about that. However, I still need HP spheres, and I still need magic spheres. Now, not magic as MP, so that you have 999 MP to use, but just your magic stat of how strong your spells are and stuff. I've been doing it, and I'm getting really close to having about 60 spheres. I think I'm at 63 or 53 or 55. The problem is, it's not a long fight. It's not like the Luck Sphere where it's like a 15-minute fight. It's only about a 4-minute fight. But every time I have fought it lately, all it's giving me is dark matter. And everybody can now say, but dark matter is good. You need a lot of dark matter to make ribbons, and ribbon is the best thing you can customize to an equipment. And that's true. It is the best, and you need lots of dark matter, so I should be happy. The problem is that I'm so close to having all the spheres, I kind of just want to get the correct spheres when I'm fighting the guy. If I want to get dark matter, I'll go farm dark matter against a different guy that has a less likely chance of getting dark matter, but it's still easier, and I get that sphere, that item, or 2 of that item. So that's just kind of the part that's bugging me. I'm not burning out of Final Fantasy X, it's just Fallout Shelter is kind of that new thing, so it's harder for me to keep playing Final Fantasy X. Again, the fights aren't long, so it shouldn't be too hard. Hopefully in the next couple of days I farm off the rest of the magic spheres, and then we're on to HP. When the HP is maxed out at 99, I'm going to start messing with Sphere Grid and trying to max out all stats. So I'm on my way. Getting closer. It shouldn't be a problem of getting this done before Christmas. So that is currently my goal right now.
sorry that isn't much to talk about for Final Fantasy X. For as much as I love the game, just, yeah, not going to do that. For the 3DS, still Pokemon Shuffle. You guys, so many people just think this game is just, it's a clone of any other game, and I agree, but it's still free. Instead of paying money for new games, I can play this, and it's pretty much changing every week now, which is great. There's no competition this week. I did do really good last week, so I'm happy about that, but since there's no competition, they had to kind of give people something else they could do. So what they did is they added some more special Pokemon, Safari Zone, which you can randomly have a chance of going against certain Pokemon. So I've caught, I think, all but one of them, so pretty happy about that. Also, they added a kind of a nice legendary Pokemon, Lugia, which is a base 80, which is second highest base damage. The highest base is a 90, and there's only one guy in the game, and he's not really that good to have a base 90. But there is a base 80, so I worked kind of hard at catching him. I had to spend some coin, not actual money. All of this playing, I have, every time you beat a guy, you usually get about 30 coins, so I've just been farming a lot of coins. So I had to use quite a fair amount of coins to get all the different things, and then I had to use another 2,500 to use Great Balls because I needed to catch this Pokemon. I pretty much sat down and was like, how much am I willing? I'm like, I'll just max everything out, make it as easy as possible, and I will do it the first time. I need to catch him. And that's what I did. I caught him on my first actual, my first try, I did horrible. I didn't even beat him, but my second try was like, I'm going to just pay everything I can, do whatever I can without paying real money to get this because it's a high Pokemon. Once I farm him up, he'll be a great one to have. So I worked really hard, got that taken care of. So right now I'm just kind of working on all my Dark guys. Any guy, Dark, Bug, and Ghost are the ones I'm really just farming up, making a team that is all maxed out at level 10 to go up against Mewtwo. Mewtwo, when the game originally started, is the expert at expert level 20. He's also level 150. He was the last guy that you faced to capture. But he also has a you can fight against him, and when you beat him at 150, you unlock his Mega Stone. The problem is you can't catch him until you beat him in Expert Stage 20 and catch him with the Pokeball. So it's kind of backwards in many ways, a little bit, but it's interesting. But I've yet to beat him, so I've just kind of been doing everything I can, farming up a lot of gold, leveling up my Pokemon. I just need to get a team that's high enough. Because once I get Mewtwo, then I have the ability to start working on other guys to get closer of maxing out all my other experts and getting them. So it's fun. It'd definitely be a lot easier if I spent like $60, $120 on this game. But I'm not made of money, and like I've been telling you guys before, my goal is still not to pay a dime, but to get a ton of gameplay out of this. And I have. So for a free game, I'm perfectly satisfied. It keeps me entertained, and even though it's just a Match 3 clone, I like Pokemon. I said it there. You guys can post that anywhere you want in the world, I don't care. Final game I've played then is also on the 3DS, like I said before, and it is Shovel Knight. I have not played much, but lately the Plague Knight DLC has been getting me kind of excited, so I figured I'd start that back up. Started showing it to a couple of a friend at work. She started a little bit, but didn't have enough time and didn't want to start liking a game that she couldn't play that much and didn't own, so she gave it back to me. But the 3D is great on this game, especially on new 3DS. I love the gameplay. I've beaten it already once, and I know I could beat it again, but I think after playing it for a little bit with all these PlayStation Plus games, I think I just have to put Shovel Knight on the back burner. I beat first stage and I've put some other time into it, but I think I'm just going to wait until Plague Knight DLC comes out before I put any more or any large amount of time back into this game. Just because I don't want to do the same thing over. Yeah, you can farm, get other different equipment, try being in a different way, or try breaking all the checkpoints like in the Vita. I know you get that's a Vita trophy to do it that way, but not possible for me. I think it would be interesting, and yeah, we'll see. But probably for right now, with all the other games I have, just wait for Plague Knight DLC, and then I'll download this and probably start playing it all over again. So that is it for the games that I am playing. Oh, well, not a game I played. However, I did want to tell you guys, was trying to do Dota 2, even though I opened really early on Wednesday. Tuesday night, as I've told you before, is our clan Dota night. Got on kind of late. People were all on Dota 2. The only problem was when they started, there was a massive update. I did not have my Steam up and running, so when I loaded up, it was informing me that, oh, there's a massive update. This is going to take a long, many hours of time. And I was like, really? Are you kidding me? No warning about this update, it just happened, and usually updates used to be on Thursday, because we used to have clan nights on Thursday night. We moved it to Tuesday, mostly because every time we got on at 7, there'd be an update. And so we moved it, also for some people's schedule, but now they're updating on Tuesday. So seriously, stop following us, or are we even big enough that anyone cares? But come on. So I did not get to play Dota 2, which made me really mad. Well, I was a little tired at that point, but still, I wanted to play since I was still up, so, oh well, maybe this week I can get some time in and play, maybe Sunday, with this Labor Day weekend coming up. We'll see. We'll see. But, on to the news. First, a little bit of an important business with Nintendo. For all of, well, I'm not super excited about this, but it's worth mentioning. Some people might be, but the new 3DS, that is not the new 3DS XL, the one that originally came out, but now the smaller model is coming out in the US on September 25th. That is going to be the one with the faceplates. Now, a lot of people, this doesn't impact a lot of people. A lot of people prefer the larger model in the United States. We like bigger. And there's more picture, it looks bigger, it looks better, I think. But a lot of people think that the smaller model looks better and fits in your pocket easier, it's better for kids, and it's cheaper. I'm not really going to argue. If you want the small model, get the small model. But now Nintendo has the chance to start selling faceplates in America. We'll see how well that does for customizing. You can customize your outside as well as your inside of your 3DS. So, we'll see. On the note of buying stuff from Nintendo, Amiibo. I should almost talk about Amiibo every single podcast. Probably can. For me, I haven't gotten any new Amiibo, unfortunately. I've still just got the stack I have. But Amazon is stated that they are not going to be taking pre-orders for the next wave of Amiibo. Good for them. They really shouldn't be taking any pre-orders. This is just a pain. Just put what's out there available and let people buy it when they can. But this has got to stop. On that note, though, the Smash Brother wave is going to be coming out soon, pretty much by Christmas. Smash Wave is out. There'll be the Animal Crossing wave, but now it is Nintendo's job to figure out what other amiibo they're going to do. We understand that they're doing cards in Animal Crossing. They're doing that. They're also releasing the figures. They've also done some a weird one. They're doing the Yoshi, Mega Yoshi for $40, kind of doing a plushie, see if that works. The whole thing is, what else is Nintendo going to make as an amiibo? I recommend that if I had any say in this company, I would say push the card lineup. Definitely do the cards, get every single Smash character, every single figure that you make a physical figurine, you need to also make in a card format. That makes it a lot cheaper, makes it a lot easier. You gotta stop this open a pack and see what you get type stuff. You need to just be able to buy cards and try that. It's a really good idea. It makes everything better. Some people really just want figures to put on their shelf, and that's cool. Some people don't want to take them out of the box, but Nintendo's original goal was to use this as additional content and do special things in games. Therefore, they shouldn't just be collectible items that you sit on your desk and leave wrapped. On that note, the majority of my amiibo are still in their box. Why? Because I have yet to find a game that really takes advantage of them. I've got my first couple of waves open the majority of them, and I used them in like Hyrule Warrior. I was going to use them in Smash, but I realized later that really wasn't going to appeal to me. So I guess kind of right now I'm waiting for Super Mario Maker, which I'm getting super excited. It is 8 days away currently. I'm recording this on the 3rd. I do not have the I don't have the 11th off, but I open at work, so hopefully during my lunch break I can run over to Best Buy, pick up a copy, and then come home that night and just start playing. But the 8-bit sprites for Mario Maker really appeal to me. I think the idea of making levels designed around Pokemon, where maybe it's a lot of tall grass that you have to run through or whatever I can do to do something similar, and then you have enemies like little Pokemon out in the wild that you have to figure out a way of catching or doing something with, or making levels that look like other games. Make, Mega Man 2 has some really good levels. Design a level like that, have a block right away that drops a Mega Man mushroom and turns you into Mega Man. Awesome. It sounds cool, and then you play out the rest of the level as an 8-bit Mega Man. Those are the types of things I want to do. I've even been thinking about designing, looking through Zelda 2, and grabbing the Zelda figurine, drop an 8-bit Zelda figure, and then play out the rest of the level as Zelda, making it look like a Zelda 2 level. So those are some cool ideas. I've been watching a lot of videos on Mario Maker, and there's some cool ideas. Same as before with the what was that other Mario versus Donkey Kong game with level creation. Some levels they're just gonna auto finish for you. You don't once you start the level, you don't have to do anything. Some levels are going to have challenges, and some levels are going to present things in a completely different way. Currently, even though Mario Maker isn't out to the public, one of the, or at least US, one of the great great levels is one where there are hundreds of mushrooms coming at you, and your whole job is not to hit a mushroom, because then you were big. And if you're big, they've made little small pathways that you can't get through when you're big. You can only do it when you're small. So the idea of just counter intuitive, usually you think mushroom good, get mushroom and go on. But this job, you're not trying to get it. So, it's interesting. I'm looking forward to it, playing my creativity just go and see what I like and see what other people like, and then see if I can design something similar. So, or at least come up with something new. We'll see. But again, that's what I'm working on and what I'm preparing for. I actually also thought about getting some graph paper and just drawing out some levels that I'm thinking of and then making them, but I don't know. We'll see on that. I mean, it's only a little over a week until the game's coming out. I think I can wait the week and just design it in the game, rather than creating a whole bunch of stuff on paper and then realizing I don't like it or using all that time, and then it's just so much easier on the game. So, we'll see. The only other thing for Mario Maker tangent. Only other thing I can think of with Amiibo, which I was originally talking about, is they're probably going to do some more plushie versions of Amiibo. I mean, it depends on how well the little yarn Yoshi's work versus the bigger one, but the bigger one's so expensive, probably not going to work as well. The other thing that Nintendo's got going is with the figures is now we are getting into the indie ones. Smash has come out. There'll probably be some with Xenoblade. We'll see. Not making any promises. I don't know anything, but there's already a Shulk in Smash, so I would hope there's something you can do in the game with figures. But I mean, there's other franchises, there's other characters Nintendo can make. Just trying to figure out how they want to incorporate these figures into the game, other than costumes and other things. But Nintendo could really start to push some of their indie companies, just like Shovel Knight is doing. I mean, let the indies decide if they want to make Amiibo for their things. People, it seems to, are buying Amiibo no matter what, so why not give them the chance? Nintendo can make money. The indie studios can make money. Sounds like a good idea for me all around. You just don't want to oversaturate the market, which obviously Nintendo's not doing because these things are still impossible to find. Otherwise, everyone would have a complete collection. And finally, Ace Attorney 6 got announced that it is coming to North America, and that is it for the Nintendo news. And we just had PAX. And I'm sorry, but there was not much at PAX. Other than confirming the Shovel Knight Amiibo, I mean, I was very disappointed. I mean, yes, Nintendo kind of lets all their stuff out of the bag at E3, and then over the next couple of shows, they just show other games they've already talked about. People actually get hands-on with them. But I understand Iwata is gone. Things are in a little bit of state of flux. But it just seems like information for Nintendo is just dwindling. Things they're doing, there just isn't as much to talk about other than like the new next week edition in Splatoon. But, I mean, we got to get something... some more 3DS. It just seems like Nintendo's going back into their whole, like, we're going to focus on the Wii U for a while again, or beginning of next year we're going to start focusing more on the 3DS again. So make up your minds. Hopefully the NX is the single console that has both of them, so Nintendo doesn't have to work on two separate things. However, the Vita, unlike the 3DS, has a ton of news. Oh yeah, and it's a dead console, supposedly. It's a legacy. I mean, what is going on with Vita? Supposedly no games, yet every single week it just seems like, oh yeah, here's another game announced, or here's something else. One thing to prove that for some reason this isn't dead, even though the company that makes it says it's dead, they just announced 3 different color combinations for the Vita 2000 model, and that is Aqua Blue, Glacier White, and Neon Orange. I mean, I I don't understand what they're trying to do. They're not selling very well. It could be the customization. I mean, the 3DS has tons of different customizations. It's got the faceplates for the smaller model of the new 3DS. It's got different color schemes. It's got different, tons of different SKUs. And because of it, it's selling pretty well. So maybe Sony is just like, we put a great system together. There's tons of games, and yet 3DS keeps selling more. So they were like, okay, let's try and put some more money into this and see if it works. So they put different colors. Cool. I mean, I'm not gonna buy the newer model. I like this old model that I picked up dirt cheap, and I'm not playing a ton of games. I've already got my PlayStation Plus, and so that's pretty much going to tide me over. But hey, it's a cool idea. It's something else to talk about, and we'll see. Maybe adding different colors to the Vita is just what it needed, and people start to be like, "Oh, it's not just black anymore." Okay, I'll buy it now. Yeah, sorry, I am sick. So, I'll see if I can cut out some of the coughs a little bit or something in editing. Enough about the model. Let's talk about the Tokyo Game Show, another event that's happening later this month. A lot of games have been getting announced that are going to be at the Tokyo Game Show. Some we've heard about before, some we haven't, but here is the list of Vita games and some others that are going to be at the Tokyo Game Show. And don't judge me. Some of these names I'm not even going to get right, but Angelique Retour, Atelier Sophie, The Alchemist of the Mystery Book, Attack on Titan, Dead or Alive Extreme 3 Venus, Dragon Quest Builders, Kinuru no Corridor 4, Samurai Warriors 4 Empires, Yuru no Na Kuni. Those are all slated to be at the Tokyo Game Show. For the 3DS, we have Dragon Quest X Online and Hyrule Warriors Legend, and of course, the game that a lot of people are still talking about, even though there's very little shown. For both consoles, we have World of Final Fantasy, and that's all going to be shown at Tokyo Game Show. But that's not all. There's going to be tons of PC, PS3, PS4. I think there was even a PS2 game? I can't remember what, but I think there was a PS2 game in the listings. And the majority of games that are going to actually be shown are all on smart devices. Obviously, this is showing how much Japan really pushes their smartphones, their smart devices. So, cool. I wish there was more games on 3DS and Vita being shown, but I guess you can't show a million games, and you can't design a million games. It's easier to make games on mobile. More people are doing it, so of course, there's just more games on that, but we'll see. There's also been a little bit more news around the Vita, some more games getting announced, and some more dates. So, Hatsune Miku Project Diva X was announced. Dynasty Warriors 8 Empires, like I said before, actually I didn't, I guess. Oh well, but that will be coming out November 26th in Japan. Coven and Labyrinth of Refrain was announced. It is a first-person dungeon crawler RPG. Tokyo Xanadu is coming out in Japan September 30th. Earth Defense Force 2 is coming out this fall in North America and Europe. Assault Android Cactus is coming out early 2016. Assault Android Cactus, just the name blew me away. I'm going to look into this game because the name at least caught my eye. Kimaturo Yomaru-chan Yomaru Training Plan is coming out in Japan December 3rd. Wow.
so many Japanese games so horrible at the language. Also, one game that is not announced, confirmed, but people are talking about it because there was a rating that the ESRB announced, or was found on the website, can't remember exactly what, but that is for XCOM Enemy Unknown Plus for the Vita. So, supposedly this is out on other consoles, but it sounds like there could be a port coming to the Vita, which is what the ESRB rating was for. So that's a little weird in flux, but not a big super fan of XCOM games, so we'll see. Nothing really is catching my eye. I mean, I play Hyrule Warriors on the Wii U, but Hyrule Warrior Legends, not super excited. World of Final Fantasy sounds a little interesting. I probably would get it on the Vita because at least I can get trophies that way. But just none of these games really, other than Attack Android Cactus, are catching my eye. And that's just the name. I haven't even seen anything. But yeah, the Vita is kind of like mobile. There's just really a lot of games coming out or being announced, and a lot of them are just really similar. So really haven't hit too many really unique ideas that I would have liked for as many games as there are, but we'll see. There's always more to come out. There is also 2 little tidbits of smart device news, and I'm kind of saddened by this. Fantasy Life 2 was delayed until 2016. Now, it's not the delay part that saddens me. It's the fact that Fantasy Life, the first game, was on the 3DS. But they decided that 2 was going to be on smart devices, and so far, only smart devices. There's no announcement for Fantasy Life 2 coming out on 3DS at all. Not super excited. I mean, I didn't play Fantasy Life 1, but I'm worried too many games are going over to smart devices, and I understand more people have smart devices, smartphones, more chances for getting more people to play rather than handhelds like the Vita and like the 3DS, but I don't want to see these handhelds going away. I understand it's a hard market, and Japan's doing it, and we're going to slowly follow Japan, but I really hope that 90% of all games don't just come out, well, I guess 90% of almost all games are coming out on smartphone, and it's the 10% still coming out on console, but I'd like to see more games on handhelds on consoles, instead of just everything going to smart device, because that'll be a really sad day when we lose handhelds like the 3DS and like the Vita. Also, a bit of happier news, even though I'm not going to play it, but Pokemon Shuffle is now available worldwide on iOS and Android. I'm not going to play it, obviously. I put too much time into the 3DS, and it doesn't seem like there's any way of linking this together, so why would I start from scratch again? I don't understand why I would, so oh well. Unless they do things that somehow carry over or do things differently than just putting the exact same game. But it looks like this is Nintendo's first mobile game that is out, so we'll see how it does, and we've got some more mobiles coming out, but I really hope this turns out well. I'm not going to support it, but I hope that other people do, and I hope this works out in Nintendo's favor. I do want to say on this lately, the Kirby game for Wii U and the Yoshi's Woolly World, or no, not Yoshi's Woolly World, Kirby's Epic Yarn for Wii. Those types of ideas, I think, would work really well on a smart device, and I really hope Nintendo carries over something like that onto
a smart device because it just works really well with the touch screen and using your finger like a stylus and just doing that way instead of using controls to guide your person. So we'll see. I'm not Nintendo and I don't get to make decisions, but I can always say input and you guys agree and maybe we change something at Nintendo. Who knows? I'm up for it. It's not going to happen for years and years and years, but it'd be awesome. And finally, that leads us to the new games that are out this week. Again, I maybe because Nintendo's putting in time at PAX, they aren't working as hard developing. I don't know what's going on. It just seems like this week was really a light week. I mean, mostly stuff on Wii U and Wii. A lot of sales and I think some themes too came out last week, so there's that, but just games is really nothing. The only thing that came out was Are You Smarter Than a Fifth Grader? Not super excited about that, and really hope maybe there's some more virtual console games coming out in the next couple of weeks. Only time will tell, but oh well. And then coming out on September 15th, Seren Kagura 2 Deep Crimson is coming out on the 3DS. And that's pretty much it. Yeah. We've all been saying it before. Nintendo's just having trouble supporting 2 different devices, and now they have mobile, they have 3DS, and they have Wii U. Hopefully they can combine the 3DS and the Wii U and the NX and help make their life a lot easier in the years to come. We will see. Time will tell, and maybe we'll all be excited. On the Vita side, again, just doesn't seem like there's much news for games coming out. I know there's more games, but Sony, if you're not a part of a major company that does news, it just seems like it's hard for you personally, and by that I mean me, to ask anyone questions and be like, hey, is this game coming out? No comment, I'm not talking to you. Who are you? You're nobody. Do you work for IGN? No? Okay, goodbye. Stuff like that. So, game coming out on the 15th, we have 3-Force Home Extended Edition. And that was it. I couldn't find anything else of games coming out. And that would actually surprise me, because that was actually up on the coming out soon page of the PlayStation Vita for games. Wow, okay. So they actually did something. That's cool. For games that came out a couple days ago, we have Xeodrifter, Danganronpa Another Episode, Ultra Despair Girls, Nova 111, Space Hulk, and Super Time Force Ultra, and those all came out on the 1st. So that's kind of exciting. I mean, sounds like the Vita, for being dead, still pumping out some games, so I kind of like that. Putting out more games than the 3DS, but then again, they're just not a lot of news. They're putting it mostly into the PS4, but oh well. I wish there was a little more with now these color schemes and everything. I wish they'd put a little more effort, since we got all these cool things coming out. But yeah. Oh well. I just hope we get some more games, because I do love games. I don't have a lot of time for games, but I do love games. So hopefully next week we talk about some Xeodrifter. I'm really excited about that. And again, I will do the competition. I've still yet figured out how, or if I want to do a question, what I want to do, or if I just want to be like, hey, like my video and you have a chance of getting the prize. Again, I think I've nailed down the prize to like 2 options, so either way it should make someone happy. I might even include a third if the other 2 options just don't appeal to anyone that wins, but yeah. Again, sorry, it's just me, but I'm having fun. I'm not asleep yet. So that is it for podcast number 13, putting that in the books. Hope you're excited about some of the news, some of the games, and as always, I will catch you next week.